Hello, BookTube. I was thinking about the one video I really wanted to make sure I did in Vlogmas. And it's the video about how last year I was feeling really crappy. And I saw all these kind of Vlogmas videos, and I wasn't really even particularly aware of what Vlogmas was. I thought it was just going to be people who were kind of doing, oh, happy, fun Christmas stuff, and I was feeling pretty alienated and kind of isolated and alone. Not that I didn't have, loving people around me, but I just, you get in those kind of moods where you just sort of, you self-isolate, and you just kind of turn inward, and you just, you can't even get find the joy in life, I guess, which happens to us all, and it's more acute at Christmas time, where you often think about family, and you think about times that you did get together, and if you're not in that space at the time, then it can magnify things, and you start getting worse and worse. Which is all to say, I got to that kind of point where, and for some reason, probably because I really like his channel, I clicked on to Jason at Old Blues Chapter and Verse, and he'd started reading A Christmas Carol, and he'd done, I think, the first couple of staves. When I finally I clicked on it, and I started listening. I started listening to him read live Charles Dickens' Christmas Carol, which, it's the story that everybody knows. They've seen all the movies. People are talking about all the movies. But this was Jason, sitting down, and in his very kind of warm and approachable voice, very kind of just kind of catches me kind of voice, was reading Charles Dickens' Christmas Carol, and listening to this story, which oftentimes Scrooge gets cast as a miser. He's a greedy bastard, and he needs to learn about it's kind of cast in that kind of a very kind of capitalistic. He's a greedy bastard who just was cared about money, and that's why he was isolated. But when I sat down to this, very much in my own sadness and self-isolation, listening to Charles Dickens talk about this guy, it's like, oh, this wasn't a story about a miser as much as it is a story about a guy who was really sad around Christmas time, and while all his friends and relatives were getting together and sharing in kind of a human kinship, he had self-isolated himself. And yes, there's the miser thing, and he was going to just focus on business, and there's that. But it really just resonated for me as this story of somebody who had turned inward on themselves, and basically all of that just sort of and all the negativity that he felt just sort of magnified in itself, and kind of the redemption of someone like Scrooge came from him actually opening up to letting the people in his the people in his life around him in. So yeah, that was I really felt like I was a Scrooge last year, but a Scrooge in not that I was holding all my money together, but that I was I was just that self-isolated person, and that watching Jason over 5 nights read the 5 staves of Christmas Carol really kind of got me in touch with that, and sort of allowed me to kind of just stop and look around and go, yes, it's like, okay, I'm a person who's working. I'm busy around Christmas, like a lot of people are busy around Christmas. I work through Christmas, just as what my job is. But that it was like there actually were chances for me to have human connection, for me to stop. And I mean, that can be family, that can be friends, that can be a person that you see at a store somewhere. That you are surrounded by life, you are surrounded by there are a lot of shitty people in the world. There's a lot of shitty things happening, but there's also a lot of beauty. That there's a lot of great people out there. Even, you know, clicking even on YouTube, that this cauldron of nastiness that you get. You can get great little oases of you know, kind people. Someone like Jason who decided to spend these kind of, you know, 5 nights reading out our Christmas Carol, which really touched me, really helped me kind of go, oh, you know, I need to kind of let down a little bit of the walls there. That's not to say people don't have, you know, actual troubles in their lives that, you know, aren't within their control, but to just sort of say, okay, what can I do for myself to grasp what's important in my life, to hug the people I need to hug, or even just a kind smile to a stranger on the street. You know, that kind of level of stuff. That said, I'm going to put a link down below to those videos. There's the magic of YouTube. Those 5 videos are still online. I don't know if Jason is doing any reading this year. He did. They're still there, so you know you can. I'm starting on the 21st. I'll listen to Jason read the first stave of A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens, and I'll probably just listen to one a day, leading up to Christmas Day. Yeah, you know, thank you, Jason, for that. And if there's anyone else out there who's sort of feeling the same kind of an isolation, it's A Christmas Carol is a classic for a reason. I at least, you know, I found that very kind of just homey, kind of just one-on-one of having a guy, you know, a great guy like Jason read that out to me, because that's the beauty of this channel. It's like he was reading that to me. It's like that was that kind of a fellowship and kinship was really a good thing, and was a part of the reason why I decided this year, it's like, okay, I'm going to do Vlogmas this year. I'm going to do these 24 videos, just to kind of force myself to be out there a bit more. You know, and some of the stuff that was out there is been, you know, it brings up, this is a time of year that brings up a lot of memories. I've talked a lot about my father on this channel, but you know, it's that time of year where you sort of you do think about those things, and but it's been good to just talk about them, it's been useful to me. Hopefully it's been useful to some of you folks out there. And yeah, you know, I don't know about Christmas. I don't know about, I'm not a religious person, but you know, human connection, human fellowship is definitely something that's important to us all, you know, as human beings. It's something we need to live, and hopefully you find that this season, and you know, years going forward. More videos later.